3, 2, 1. All right. So yeah, this is the restream of the 1/12/27. Hey, thanks for the good luck. Yeah, a run I got offline yesterday, including tech which was found like a few hours before I did this run, so that's quite interesting, but I'll talk about that later on. So the record I set in the last grinding session, if you will, was like 7 months ago, I believe, and it was a 1:13:54. And for that time, the tricks I used, that was a really good run. And to some extent, it's still a better run than what you're about to see. But since then, there were quite a number of new skips found. Also, sorry, guess the sound was a bit loud. First, like this maybe. Yeah, so since like 7 months ago, there were some new tricks found. At first, some smaller stuff, and a few weeks ago, I don't remember when exactly, Hanajo confirmed a trick which has been known for a long time, but has been done without video evidence, so nobody really cared to look into that, which was clipping through the door after the first fight. And at the time, I think that happened like 2 years ago, Hinafu supposedly got that and showed that he was behind the door with the enemy still existing and attacking him. But yeah, there was no evidence on how he did that or what happened exactly, so nobody looked into that. And this year, a few weeks ago, Hanajo tried his luck, and I think actually within a few minutes got he got the trick clipped through the door because of some weird hitbox issues with which I'll also talk about later on. But yeah, that was kind of the starting point of new skips being discovered, new tech being integrated, or old skips being worked on further. As Epic Dude Guy said, 2018 is the year of the revival of pop speedrunning. And so far that surely is true. So yeah, with the first 3 minutes done, which was basically just small movement and nobody cares, not even myself. We can now come to the first bigger trigger of the game called Dagger Early. Usually you're supposed to reach the dagger by going the quote-unquote normal way around, like 2 minutes of platforming, and we just use this doorframe decoration thing and approach the dagger backwards. Which you see in a second if I go around the corner. The camera turns, yeah. There's the dagger, but we won't take it. We only hit the trigger. And yeah, the game thinks we have the dagger, and after the next cutscene it gives us the dagger automatically, simply because we hit the trigger, which usually is behind the dagger, speaking from a casual route. That's that for this trick. So yeah, now we're approaching the first new trick I talked about, the so-called first fight skip. What you do is, as I kind of said already, use an enemy, or better said, its hitbox to kind of clip through the door. And for that you need to knock down an enemy. Preferably the red one that has a bigger hitbox, so it's easier to clip. And you have to hit him 4 times before he gets knocked down. That's why I hit him 3 times beforehand. That's number 4. He's knocked down, and using the dagger attacks and cancelling with the button where you also usually wall run or parry or whatever, you can precisely position him. Once more. You wall run onto him. And because of the hitbox collision, the game pushes you through the door. And the skip itself, like without the consequences, saves like 50 seconds, 55 seconds. I think it saved 55 on my previous gold I have had. Although I have to say later on, like with this route later on, you lose a bit of time on elevator fight because you need to kill 64 enemies before you get the mega freeze, and well, yeah, you usually get that in the elevator fight. So on one hand, you only postpone the killing of the enemies you just skipped. The skip saves like 30 seconds nonetheless, because you skip the cutscene afterwards, like saving and the cutscene, and that's yeah, that's quite big. So the skip overall is still worth and not too hard to do, really. Sadly, so far there are no other applications of this enemy hitbox clipping. But this, as I said, was the start for a number of other discoveries. Some bigger, some smaller, which I'll hope to cover all in this. Oh yeah, sorry, Vizier. Yeah, I only thought about this route, but there is a Vizier skip with this enemy clipping. So far it's not really consistent and pretty hard, but it surely exists, and Epic Dude Guy currently is working on that. So far it probably would save around 1 minute, I think Esco said. But yeah, the Vizier thing is a bit harder. Because you can't knock down the Vizier and have him stay in place. Unlike the enemy in the first fight, which makes it really easy. So you need the Vizier and his clone to be lined up in a good position, good angle. Such that when you jump onto the Vizier, like the real one in his safe space energy bubble thing, the game clips you outside and then you damage boost to the credits. But that so far is not really RTA viable. But yeah, the first split 758 is really good, and so far I've only gotten a handful of sub 8s. Like I think this is the 4th or 5th time I have a sub 8. Like this is a really good start. The time I lost to my gold was from yeah, basically the enemy not spawning in the perfect position for first fight skip, which happened in my gold. So that makes for the few seconds I quote unquote lost here on the gold, but that's, yeah, my gold is simply insane, so that's no big deal. Everything sub 8 is a really good start. Now in my previous PB, the 1337, which was a really bad run, like it introduced all the new skips, which save around 2 minutes, like the ones I do, the RTA viable ones. But it was world record by 17 seconds, which then obviously means that a lot of mistakes happened there. So yeah, in my PB I did the Palace Defense cutscene skip, which is not that consistent, or quite inconsistent, if you will. Because my previous, like the first split was a 825, and that's quite bad of a start with a new skip. So I said, yeah, either I get this inconsistent skip here at Palace Defense cutscene skip, or I reset anyways, and I got it. So I saved 30 seconds, which I'll not save in this run. So that's why I'll not be ahead anymore at that fight cutscene. I tried a few runs with both skips, like the first fight skip and Palace Defense cutscene skip, but like the few times I got past it, I think most died, or no, all of them died in either Warehouse or the damage boost in Second Sword. This game is just, or this category is just too inconsistent to have, to have these kind of skips in early game. Like if it's the last skip of the game, like, okay, it doesn't really make it better, but somehow, or somewhat, I guess. But it's kind of the same as the old palm tree skip, which was, I think, back in the days, 13 minutes in, and that's really inconsistent as well. Saved optimally, I think, 30 or 40 seconds, and it's just nonsense. And I at some point I also stopped doing. Also, this is bullshit. I jumped basically at the end, and the game was like, yeah, no, you won't reach the ledge now. That's cool. But Palace Defense skip itself was quite solid, so. I think after this split I'll be like plus 13 or something. I don't fully remember, but it's yeah, due to that one thing in Palace Defense where the box didn't clip past the two levers in the middle, so I had to move one lever 180 degrees so the box isn't stuck anymore. And, well, the other time was being not doing inconsistent Palace defense cutscene skip. Rest of the segment was really solid, so I'm more than okay with being plus like 10 seconds here or whatever. Also, that airwalk was nice, saves like 5 seconds. 5 seconds over the saw blade trick, so without that it's like, I think 8 or 10 or whatever. Okay, so the start for the route I use was quite solid, and I'm really okay with it. And as you see, my best possible time for me on is the 1:11:04. Although there's the new skip still missing, which I talked about, which was found like a few hours before this run, and so far I haven't gotten a run with it, with that new trick yet, which says like 35 seconds in total. So yeah, 1:11 pace was more than realistic, although that means nothing 13 minutes into the game with a lot of hard tricks still ahead. Also, I think my dead fight was garbage, but we'll see. Sick power attack. Okay. That's great. Best feature of this game is torpedoing the enemy you want to torpedo. That's great, except it doesn't exist. Yes, sadly I got hit twice, so I have to heal afterwards. Also, that's a nice wall jump. Blue enemy was held in place by Farah anyway, so I could just wall jump, retrieve him. Yeah, I got blocked there, but I could slow-mo. Like, if you slow-mo, the blue guys don't stop you from jumping over them. That's a kind of combat. What's the word? Fuck. Combat benefit you have when using slow-mo. So this fight was kind of bad. Like, no, it was okay, but I've had better in the last days. Especially when the enemies spread all over the place. Like, you don't fight near the stairs or the wall where you can just torpedo in doubt. But they spread over the whole area, so you have to walk a lot to retrieve, and I got hit 2 times, got blocked like 2 times. It was okay, but not more. So I sadly have to heal now. But to compensate, that's another strat I didn't do in my PB. Which is a really simple strat. For the next Farah game over, to skip this fight, you hit her once. So you manually reduce the time you have to reach the next checkpoint. But it also reduces the time until the game over. So you save like, I think 3 seconds it is. And I finally did that strat. I never did before because I have no idea why. Only thing you have to do is, it makes it easier, is this first person roll cancel and jumping off immediately. Like, you can still make it without, but it's just a bit harder. There, when this door is open, you get the checkpoint. You load back in and you're fine. Fight skip, Farah's alive. Also, I killed 1 enemy in that upper fight because I need a full moon tank for the so-called half-insane warehouse route. Yeah, you could also kill an enemy down there, like after getting down. There's no real difference, it's just preference. So for the half-insane browse, what you do, and what you'll see in a second, is you skip all the puzzle elements. Like moving all the bridges and stuff you have to do with Farah in kind of a co-op manner. You don't do that by doing a double rewind trick. Where rewind trick is simply said rewinding twice to the same point, so you get a longer action. Like if you do it with a wall run, as we'll do in a second, you just get a longer wall run. And with that you reach the platform on the left there. Which you normally can't do. Oh yeah, my movement there was kind of bad, but that's okay. So rewind until the arms are kind of back again, twice. Get a longer war, and then you do it again because the war still doesn't reach no matter what you do. Twice to the same point, and you reach this platform. And now the part which makes, or for the longest time made this skip really hard, is the jump you have to do here, which also needs somewhat of a precise setup. It's good. 1 step forward and jump off. Slow-mo so you actually land on the fence and don't slip off. And you skipped all of warehouse. The skip saves around 20 seconds. In a segmented run it could save more because you could conserve the moon tank and use it to damage boost to the button here, but for an RTA valuable route you can't do that. So you just move the box, which isn't that much slower since you can just first person glitch and don't have to move it all the way. Did I get just jump first try? I don't think so, because this game is a meme. Oh, I did. No, man. Never mind. Although I think I failed this. Yeah, I went way too far into the corridors. the door didn't push me through the cutscene, and I couldn't move in the cutscene. Saves like 5 seconds. Usually you can do that. Or in principle it's possible. It's not too hard, but you don't really have the time to set it up, so you just kind of wing it usually. And there didn't work, but still a good segment. Everything considered. Now for this trick, that's a Feraless Zoo. You do some specific movement, so one enemy attacks Farah. You kill the other 3 and basically clear Zoo without her, which well you usually can't do, but we can with some tricks. Also, this movement here is actually horrible, and I'm ashamed to show it to the public. This jump into the fence is really easy usually, but I'm not sure what I did there. But that's okay. So we just went the backwards way around, so you're usually not supposed to be up there. And here you use the box and the first person glitch to clip into the zoo. Have to rewind, so you hold onto the box after the glitch, so you actually clip into the zoo. Yeah, segment so far was not that good. 2 failed jumps into the fence and bad movement when trying to max war onto the second pole directly, which saves a few seconds. So yeah, but this jump was good, direct jump. And the most important new thing which happens on this segment is the ledge storage. What happens there, you'll see that in like 20 or 30 seconds. What happens, you use an enemy to cancel the animation of climbing over a fence. Which, if done correctly, usually results in a damage boost. But not necessarily. I don't know if I get it in this particular run here. So yeah, I got it. You saw that little damage boost. That means I have storage. I got attacked while climbing up, and in this state of being, yeah, the ledge, because it got cancelled, is kind of stored. And the next time I try to climb over a ledge, which is like a box or some stones on the floor the prince can climb onto, the game tries to pull you back to the ledge you stored, which will be useful in around 8 minutes. And you lose storage whenever you climb over a fence or, well, use a ledge. So you have to be careful to not do that. That's usually not a problem, because there's nothing in the way really which would do that. Aside from 2 things in baths you have to avoid, but yeah, and in general, try to not climb onto boxes. Although, if you lose ledge storage because you climb over anything, you can rewind and you get it back. So that would be okay, but yeah, it would be slow. So why do it? This corridor was one of my favorites, movement-wise. Walking around that corner and you save half a cycle on these exact traps. Usually you're slow, like if you don't do that, you're slow enough so you have to go under them. But if you're quick enough, if you take the shortcut, which is quite precise, you can go over them. It's like a few seconds. But as I said, one of my favorite movements to do in this category and run. She'll wait here. Okay, there's not much new here. Oh, sorry. Not much new here, aside from the bird not sniping me because I'm a legend. Not like the bird has ever sniped me in my life, ever, so that's okay. Yeah, good jump to skip the ledge. Solid palm tree jump. Only thing, you have to be a bit careful in this area. Because if you don't waste, or if you don't have to use any sands here, or from here to Ancient Ruins, you can skip the sand cloud there, saving like 3-4 seconds. And yeah. So far I could skip the sand cloud, but in the end I will not be able to do it. Here, this ledge I have to avoid, so you have to wall run kind of onto it. Because usually you climb over it and the storage activates. Game tries to pull you back. And don't want that yet, at least. Want that later on. Also, that ledge on the right we usually use, which is a bit faster and also more consistent since the enemies don't block you. Also can't use that, so we have to use the stairs, of course. That's a minuscule change. Okay, watch this damage boost, except it fails. That was totally my fault. I wanted to torpedo the woman, and in that instance took my sword out, and I didn't focus on the brown guy, so that was my fault. But I got the rewind trick as a backup, which loses like 10 seconds. So it's not too bad. Usually when I don't get the damage boost and I fail the rewind trick, then I reset the run. But this is like okay. Yeah, 10 seconds for the trick itself, 5 seconds for the extra sand cloud I have to pick up. But there I can't blame the game. That was solely my fault. Also, another important step is to not let fire into the crack. That's not only faster, but also required for the new trick I was talking about. Also, this camera was screwing with me. Like, my reset camera was broken and, yeah. The cupboard also was in a kind of weird position. But that's more like movement stuff. Okay, still sub 28 sword, which is honestly the goal for this route. So it's still okay. So you have to leave Farah behind because now she's in a twisted neck state, which means she can't move. And the benefit of that is you can't game over if she's too far back. And yeah, what basically happens, you leave her at the crack in the first half of baths, you enter this part of baths, and she gets teleported here. With, yeah, the problem that she has that, is in that twisted neck state. Which isn't really a problem. It's quite great. Because usually Farah doesn't follow you in here. Like if she's in her normal state, also slow movement, nice movement but slow. So if she's in her usual state, and she doesn't follow down here, you will game over when doing the next jump, like this one. Then the game tries to load Farah into the next room, but she's too far back and she'll kind of fall down and die. And with twisted neck, that's not a problem. And we still need the twisted neck Farah here, because we want to progress without her. And if we do that in her usual state, then again we are too far ahead of her, and the game will game over, because the game checks for Farah and, well, she's not there, and yeah. And here the ledge storage comes into play, We climb over the box. It pulls us back. Luckily, the position where we got it is such that the game teleports us here. Yeah, after the teleport, you have this small cutscene, lockdown thing, whatever. You hang down the ledge, loads the next area, and you're here. And usually, if you try to leave this area, you game over. But Twisted Neck Pharaoh's a bless, and we can continue this skip. Like only this part of the skip teleport that skips fighting the scarabs, waiting for Pharaoh to let out the platforms and so on. That's like 40 seconds. Overall, it's 30 to 35 since you still have to set up the ledge storage and avoid the two ledges and baths. But overall, that's a quite big time saver. Another small benefit is that Pharaoh's not in mess hall, which usually is. And since she's not here, she can, or she won't get damaged. Like there's no way she can die because of the enemies now. Which in the past has not been too big of a problem. Like usually Pharaoh survives until you're outside and then enemies are deloaded anyways. But now it's like 100% safe. There's nothing that can happen to you. Which is quite great. What you still have to do is you have to let the door push you outside. Because if you go outside yourself, Pharaoh will still load in and die. And you don't want that. And if the door pushes you out here, you saw that. When I jumped up, the door kind of pushed me outside. You passively go over the area deloading trigger, and the game then somehow thinks, yeah, it's okay, you can continue. Pharaoh's not too far back. It's okay, bro. And that's a new ledge storage used in SOT, which is honestly a really cool trick, and it's not too hard either. So why is this damage boost free? And not damage boost, why is this rerun trick free? I haven't played it like forever. So overall, the segment was really good. A few smaller slip-ups, like a few smaller movement things. The fight in Daybreak was not insanely good. was like average. So if I go this again, it's probably a gold by 10. No, not 10 seconds. 5 maybe. 5 to 10. Depending on the strats I do. But this, as you see, this was a game changer. Saved 55 seconds over my PB. Yeah, here, as you saw, you take the checkpoint, you die, Pharaoh loads in, and everything is normal again. Another nice trick that has been known for a longer time, but hasn't really been implemented since there was no... Well, Samabam would tell me otherwise, but hasn't been a consistent setup. It's the fast way up here. Usually walk into the spike floor there and then go up. It saves like 10 seconds maybe. Yeah, usually I get into the save like 1 minute. At 1 minute here I get it 50 seconds, so around 10 seconds. Really nice trick. Uses that in Pharaoh, like from the Pharaoh Tower on, if you're on the invisible ledge, just hold forward and you get the same camera every time. So you can use visual cues on where to stop and jump off to get up the bridge. It's really cool. Here again, Pharaoh would be... No, wait, it's not about Pharaoh, it's about the loading trigger for the next area you miss, so here you save and reload. Skip is still a lot faster than doing Pharaoh Tower casually, so that's fine. Also, that was the robber list. Sorry, almost forgot that. Best trick of the run. There's another trick you can do here, which uses 2 cents, which I would have, but it is a quite hard, and getting the correct angle for the first person glitch or the invisible ledge is is quite finicky, so if you do it quickly, you would save 5 seconds if you get it. If you do it safely, it's like it would be consistent, but you wouldn't save any time and waste your 2 cents. So you would have to pick up an extra cent cloud, which like this you don't have to do. So it probably doesn't save 5 seconds, but 2 or something. Because of the cent cloud, I never considered that. Like this, I don't pick up any sand cloud for the next 20 minutes, which is quite risky. I only have 1 cent for caves and everything, like until observatory, but that's not too big of a deal. So I'd rather do this route, which is free if the execution is done well enough. Alright, there was a lot to talk about for the first half of the run. Caves, well, Hall of Learning, observatories, all done as before. The only real different thing coming up is the elevator, since because of first fight or first fight skip, you have to kill more enemies in elevator to get the mega freeze. And afterwards, the route changes slightly, but not too much. So yeah, the majority of new tricks is definitely in the first half of this run. Bad movement. With first fight skip, ledge storage, like Ancient Ruins teleport, Half Insane Warehouse. And if one wants to do that, like I don't, but maybe someone else wants to, the Palace Defense cutscene skip. Problem with this run is, like maybe now is as good of a time to talk about it as any other. Kind of problem of this run, category, route or whatever, is that there are a lot more threats, which one could do. But they all are really hard, and if you want to continuously grind for a good time, it's not really reasonable to implement them into your run. Like the elevator skip, you can do observatory fight skip, vizier skip, I already briefly talked about. Oh yeah, also I failed this trick because I did bad movement on my controller. I got it as a quick backup though, so I only lost 5 seconds. But that was not good. I usually shouldn't fail that, but small thing. So yeah, there are a lot of cool tricks that exist for this category, but yeah, it's not really reasonable to implement them, and that's why, at least how it looks now, we will work on a community segmented run, which is long overdue. On the other hand, with all the recent developments, maybe good that we waited this long, so we can implement them all. And just to give an idea, I guess, like this is a rough estimate, but with all the tricks one could do, I would say a good goal time is maybe between 1 hour and 1 hour 5 minutes. Everything else is too way too specific to determine that now, but with all these non-RTA tricks, you can you can probably save a lot of time. Like my sum of best is 109. I'm not doing all these insane tricks. Like maybe it's closer to 1 hour 5 than 1 hour. I don't know. It's basically impossible to give any estimate for that. But yeah, back to the run itself. So Caves was okay. I didn't get a gold yet with the new fast bridge, simply because there's a lot of movement and a lot of small tricks involved in this in this segment. So it's kind of difficult to get a good goldener run. And yeah, I can still gold this by like 5 to 10 seconds. It's a funny story. Yesterday I thought about which way is faster, to roll all the way or to walk and wait until you build up max speed, but then you have to walk around the pool, since walking through water is really slow. And it turns out it's equally fast. Like, it differs by 1 frame in the comparison I did. And so we roll there. It's just more convenient, and you can't get stuck on the pot. That's that for recent developments here. So for now I'm in the zombie state, which I got by dying while entering the cutscene, which gets you out of the underground reservoir. So yeah, the prince kind of survived, but has 0 health, which means none of the traps are active. That's also why I could just walk over them, and more importantly, all the enemies just ignore you. That's great. Because the skips we're about to do, you could do them with, or you could do them without zombie. You just have to kill the first enemy wave, because the enemies just shouldn't bother you. If they get into the way, it's just not really feasible or possible to do the tricks we're about to do. It's a nice jump there. That's also some movement I like. Jumping over that small hole there. It's quite cool. Also, I like how the prince grabs the statue, except he doesn't. Because he's fucking stupid. Another thing I haven't figured out here yet is the fast statue. You can do the first clip such that the statue's in the perfect position after the second one, because the pillar kind of blocks you. I haven't found a consistent way, like a setup of doing that yet. But that would save like 5 seconds, because moving the statue's insanely slow.
Da seid ihr ja. Seid ihr sicher, dass ich euch nicht aufhalte?
Schon gut, schon gut.
Die Halle des Wissens.
So we kind of do the same here in Hall of Learning. We'll use a mirror to clip through the door.
Wir sind auf der falschen Seite der Bäder. Wir müssen zurück durch den königlichen Palast.
Nun gut, lasst uns einen Ausweg suchen.
And problem is if we die, that's a problem anyways. Because then we go back to the underground reservoirs. Zombie Prince, you can't take any check or save points. But if I rewind here, I would also go back to the well. Because the game, if you rewind, the game kind of checks where Farah is, and then game recognizes, oh, Farah's really far back there. Yeah. Game over. Yeah, because of what I talked about earlier, where I didn't take the sand cloud in the courtyard before caves. I didn't have a slow-mo tank, or I didn't have a filled moon tank. So yeah, usually you kind of want slow-mo to be a bit safer for the clip through the door, such that the enemies don't bother you too much or knock you down or whatever. But if you kill 2 enemies, that's fine either way. Or usually it's like the remaining red enemy rarely gets you. Yeah, and this run isn't safe until I got the next save point. Because if I die now, I got the checkpoint getting into observatory, so if I die, I get loaded back in here, but Farah's not here. Farah getting teleported towards you is usually only a failsafe for the save points and not the usual checkpoints. It happened in some spots, but that's yeah, that's another story. So until then, dying means game over. Dying or rewinding, sorry. If you rewind in this fight as well, it's just dead. And here I was stuck with, at this point, around 20 health points. Drinking gives you 30, so drinking twice gives you 60. So yeah, I would guess this is 20 or 30 health points, which is not too much. But this fight done in actually in 45 minutes. That's really good.
Man kann das Ding irgendwie nach oben bewegen. Schaut, ob einen Schalter findet.
Was macht euch glauben?
So that's okay. So far the pace was still 111. Simply because there's the OBS fight was good. And simply because I can save, as you can see, 1 minute on this split due to the palm tree skip, which I heavily failed in PB. Well, first of all, the observatory fight in PB was really bad. I lost 20 seconds there. To getting blocked and bad auto-targeting and everything. It was just painful. And also palm tree skip in observatory courtyard. No, in Hall of Learning courtyard, sorry. I always get the name wrong there. Okay, this route is also the same as always. This is basically the only pole where you can first person glitch like that and jump off an invisible pole. Like you can grab an invisible pole on every pole if you get out your sword, but you can't jump off it. If you try to jump off, the game automatically warps you back to the physical pole. And here that's not the case. And I think to our knowledge that's the only pole where that happens. No guarantee on that, but I believe so.
Da, ein Spalt.
Moment, lasst uns erst den Korridor überprüfen. Na gut, ihr nehmt den Spalt.
Bis gleich.
So until now, I'd consider this run, aside from a few small movement things, but you have that in every run. No run is perfect, especially of this game and category. So aside from that, this run is really solid, or at least I'd call it this way. But the big hurdle you have to get past, or at least I have to get past with my road, is the Hall of Learning Courtyard palm tree skip, which saves around 20 seconds. Without enemies, it's really easy to do. With enemies which can displace you or attack you, so you have to do the trick quicker than usual, it's pain. Just like Jordan Mechner intended. But you'll see in a second. There are some text to make the enemy spawn away from the palm tree or away from the spot where you do the trick. But that's as consistent as the trick itself, namely not at all. I also have to drink here once because my health was a bit too low for damage boost and not dying afterwards. So yeah, do this warrant to spawn the enemy. But of course, second enemy spawns right there. I tried my luck, but he totally displaced me. So I kind of have to warrant to make him go away. And well, then I failed the trick because I'm stupid. My warrant was too low. And probably also in the wrong position. Like the min warrant really helps to make the position somewhat consistent. And from there on, it's just about having a good height for the warrant. Like this was good. The first one was a bit too low, I believe. But as you see, without enemies, it's not hard. Like even second try saves more than enough time. But yeah, enemies. So I lost around 50s, like 40, 50 seconds here. It's kind of hard to tell. It's just bad luck. Happens. Also, this trick is bullshit. The fast way down, I also timed it. Saves 5 seconds. Apparently, I started the war in the wrong position twice. I deeply apologize at Jordan Mechner. So, it didn't save any time at all. Like, this point I should have just done the normal way down, but whatever. So I think I lost 55 seconds to my gold on this split. We'll see in a second. But I believe so. Oh no, so far I only lost 45, 50 because I still have to take the sand cloud. I forgot that. You need at least 2 sands for the prison rewind trick, and I have 1 because of palm tree. That's one big bad side effect. So you have to go down here, take the sand cloud, and go back up. That's another 5, maybe 7 seconds lost. I don't know. This segment so far is the only real downside to this run. Of course, I have enough experience with the split or palm tree skip itself just ruining great runs. It's nothing I haven't lived through before. It's just really annoying. So yeah, 111 is at this point is not possible anymore. Even though I can go the few splits by a few seconds, but it's very far from being realistic. And as you see in the end, my time is 1:12:27. Spoiler. So, yeah. If I would have saved just 30 more seconds, I would have been at my goal of 111. But yeah, the run is, as you saw so far, is good enough to restream it and like do some commentary on it nonetheless. It's kind of sad. Yeah, this run still could have died in numerous places, such as right here, or well, 20 seconds from here. The prison rewind trick, which if failed, loses 1 minute. Which is great. Except I mean the opposite. So what the rewind trick is, the animation of getting pushed kind of into the wall by the platform when falling down. I got the rewind trick, but I didn't get pushed far enough in. You can fix that with a second rewind trick, which I luckily got. So the run was alive, but bad. Story of my life. This upcoming trick also gave me a lot of headaches in the past. Oh, nice movement. Gave me a lot of headaches in the past days because it simply refused to work, despite me using the same setup as before, or at least I thought so. So what you do is you do a half step, you jump. On the way down, you start the slow-mo. This was a bit late maybe, but as you see, it still works. This damage boost saves, I think, 20 seconds? Something like that. And that boost just failed so often in the last few days, such that I actually had to practice this trick again. Nonetheless, it's a really cool trick. So because Prison Rewind trick took 4 cents and not 2 as it usually does, I had to get the sand cloud because I need at least 2 cents, or usually 2 cents for another rewind trick coming up. Nice enemy block. Yeah, this also works in 4. This is just at the start of the flip, so you have to get the action which lies a bit further back, so you need 4 rewinds to get it. At least I didn't die. A brown enemy couldn't have killed me here because I had too much health for that. That's why I drank in Hall of Learning Courtyard. A blue enemy with his sword combo could have killed me in one go if I would have been really unlucky, but it was. The chance was quite low of me dying after the rewind trick with that amount of health. So maybe for consistency's sake, it's actually a nice idea to drink in Hall of Learning Courtyard. If your health is like below 50 or something, I don't know. kind of hard to guess. So yeah, both rewind tricks in 4 cents, which is like 15 seconds. Because slow rewinds are, as the name said, are saying slow. Which also means I can go this segment by another maybe 10. Because I think I lost 8 seconds on this split compared to my PB, which also has my gold split for this. Oh, this is a great slow-mo. First one. Prince refused to attack the enemy, and that's just fantastic. Love this game. At J Mechner. So I could have done elevator skip, but the run was way too good to consider. Like, elevator skip is something you do if the run is bad, and you're like, well, if I don't get it, I reset anyways. Because this run is garbage. And this run, after all, was 112 pace, which is a really good time. And I was more than willing to take it. Given the run could finish. So yeah, so far the fight is decent. The wall jump retrieve is a bit scary. Because you have to rely on the enemy not moving. If the enemy moves, you... Oh, this is a very nice meme. At J. Mechner. Yeah, if the enemy moves, you just won't get the retrieve and you lost time by trying to wall jump there. So for... At least for the small blue guys, you want to power attack. Big blue guys, they usually block your power attack. So it's either torpedo or wall jump. But as I said, wall jump is... Like, it's convenient, but not as safe. But yeah, most of the power attacks or slow-mo kills were really well done, so that's really okay. Also cool, I didn't get that retrieve. Which is horrible, but fair enough on the blue enemy. I wanted to target the upper blue enemy there, as you could see in the controller, but he was kind of blocked by the fence, which is always great fun. When the game decides, no, you can't go to that enemy. Like, you could, in theory, because can, like, warp from A to B, but no. Yeah. So I split elevator fight when the cutscene starts, when the elevator stopped moving. And I think I lose 8 seconds to my gold, so I can surely gold this by a bit more. Yeah, this could have been sub 110 if I would do elevator skip. My consistency at that skip is, I think, so far, for sure less than 10%. So, no thanks. So yeah, I'm also doing a new trick, which is the elevator fence rerun trick, which I got first try. That's great. That saves like 20 seconds. And then I failed the wall jump at the top, so I had to rewind it. And do the climb up again, the small elevator. That was... Like, when it happened, I actually had to laugh. That was just great fun. So now it was as fast as getting the trick second try. Still good enough. Yeah, the camera's kind of weird there, and you need to do the wall jumps in a shorter interval, since the elevator's quite small, so the walls are near together. But yeah, my gold also has second try elevator fence rerun trick, so I can still match that. I think I actually gold that by a few frames or whatever. So another gold I could get, like another 5 to 10 more, 10 second gold 5. Hard to tell. So conclusion, I suck. So after I got the elevator fence rerun trick, I was quite nervous, because that's like, it's not super rare. That's not like I get that trick 50% of the times, and I usually get it second try. So first try would have meant I could have gotten a new gold potentially, and I suppose the nervosity got to me and failed.
Wenn dies unser Grab sein soll, wird der Dolch mit uns beerdigt. Und wir sind beisammen.
Another thing to note
Was ist los?
is that the gold for my last split is, I think, a 6 minute 5 seconds. My PB, as you can see, is a 6:37, and my runs usually have a time around 6:30 there, because my gold for that last split, which mainly consists of, well, some platforming, but mainly of the last fight and the Vizier fight. Which in my gold I just get insane luck. Like getting basically no blocks and like neither last fight nor the Vizier. It was sick. And it's really hard to match that. Oh, sorry. My chair. And it's really hard to match that, so I usually get 6:30 there. So, yeah, the best possible time isn't really what you should look out for in terms of what's realistic to get at this point with this pace. But minus 48 for sure means if I play on PB level, this is 112. Also, are these stairs exciting? Just like the last cutscene. Pure vanilla. That's a 10. Where are you? I'm here.
Was ist wundervoll? Wo seid ihr?
Where are you? Alright, the real endgame starts after this puzzle. You just have to end as a runner. Honestly, it's quite nice to have something easy like this whole segment of the cutscene, running downstairs doing this puzzle like 5 minutes. You just can calm down a bit before the final part of the run starts, where every mistake basically loses the run. Okay, 4-4. At the end we draw our sword, so we still have it out after the cutscene, so we can skip the last puzzle, the last sword puzzle. Here we draw it, and the game conserves this state, so we'll still have it afterwards, although story-wise the game strips you of your weapons, so you can't draw your weapons because by the game's story, or how the game works, you don't have them anymore. In reality, they are just invisible, like the textures are not loaded. So if we have them out, we can, at least in combos, use them to destroy the door already. So getting stuck on collision, great meme in this game. Oh no. Another fantastic thing I should mention. I currently am not able to reset my camera, which becomes kind of important later on. Well, first of all, here, after you climb up, you can reset camera, so the camera's kind of stuck below. That's a really weird forced camera. So you kind of have to go with that. But in the Bats Tower later, it becomes a bit more of a problem, because the camera there is also really weird, and if you do the skip we do, the camera's usually outside the tower, and you really don't want that. So there's a fix for it, but it loses like 1-2 seconds. So it's not optimal. But in last fight, because of the landscape fighting, I lost the lost my reset camera. That's somehow well known. No one knows exactly how or why that happens, but it does. So it's yeah. Yeah, the splits I'm comparing against, the 1:13:37 is my latest PB, or well, world record. I got I think the day before this run, or 2 days before this one, something like that. So everything green, everything ahead means PB pace. Also here I can't reset camera, so I have to use first-person cameras to manually do that. So yeah, not having reset camera is just so inconvenient here. So the fix for this one, like every time you jump off the ladder, you get this weird camera where you can't see when the bats attack you. Fix is just to go into landscape and out of it directly, and then the camera resets. And that's a goal by, I think, a few frames. Which it really shouldn't be, because I failed climbing up the small elevator. It's just sadness. I was a bit slow with the camera. Usually I set it up in one go on the analog stick. Kinda had to readjust here. Because of the small elevator stuff, I was really careful. I was really focused to not fail these small jumps. Like, it's nothing hard about it. You're just in the wrong mindset if you failed that before. But afterwards you're fine. You got a checkpoint right after climbing up there. You get a checkpoint right here on this platform, so you're good to go. So even if I die, I lose maybe 10-15 seconds. 112 is still the pace. So it's all fine. So with this, it's the last fight, and Vizier left. As I said, if I play on PB level, I get the 112 for sure. If I play better than that, I get a mid 112. If I play worse, which is not really possible, like 36 is really average, or even slightly below it. Like, I would have to lose 15 seconds on the split to my PB, which is like, I'd have to die for that. So no, it's either death or 112. That's the situation here. Also epic cutscene. Okay, look at this fight. Just look. Just enjoy it. Second double kill, third double kill. So far I got 2 blocks. 3. Still 3. The enemy kinda dodged when that happens. 3. Frozen enemy. Weird torpedo shit. 3. 3. I just got no blocks. That was insane. 3. 4. It wasn't really a block, but it was more the enemy being frozen. So 4. Let's count that as 4. 5. 5 blocks the whole fight. It's insane. Usually you get around 15. Which, like, if I had to estimate, it's like you get 15 blocks. This fight was just insane. So I was on pace for a low 112. You can still lose quite some time on Vizier if he blocks you. Unless you do Vizier skip, but so far you don't do that. No one does that. No one should do it. Like at the time when this run happened. So Vizier can kind of manipulate if you jump over him at the right time, which is the right, maybe not frame, but the right set of frames. He doesn't block you at all. Of course. I don't get that. I get the bad one. Like, you'll see.
Was für ein Zauber
Blocked.
ist das? Hört auf damit!
Prinzessin, kam, euch zu entführen. Ihr traut ihm noch nicht.
Blocked. He hit me when blocking me.
wird euch
Like,
betrügen.
this is one of my favorites for this fight. It's absolutely fantastic.
Alles
Another
wird
hit
so,
when
wie
he
ich es
blocks.
vorhersagte.
And now I have 30 health. At this point I decided to go safe. I really didn't want to blow it. And to Mega Freeze now. Because if you don't have full stance and moon tanks. Like if I rewind because I died to Vizier, I
Ihn zu meinem
have to...
Vater bringen. Er möge urteilen.
I can't do Mega Freeze anymore. So I do it in the second fight. You usually don't do that. It loses like 1 or 2 seconds because you... if you do it on the third phase, you don't have to walk to the Vizier to do the final hit on him. Kinda. So it's not too bad of a time loss, it's just... this fight is a fucking meme. At J. Mechner. Oh yeah, that was also a very great hit in the air. Love it. Should send this fight to Jordan and ask him why he did this. Okay, it's kinda inconvenient, but... Vizier's down. Final cutscene is around 80... Not 80, 38, 39 seconds, so... The second was still really good. Like, this last fight was just insane on a whole different level. Getting 5 blocks over the full fight. Just... it's beyond me. This Vizier stuff maybe lost 10 seconds or something. All the blocks, so... This is it. Dagger, sword, dagger, and time. 1:12:27. So aside from a few smaller movement things, and the biggest one being the Hall of Learning Courtyard segment with prison, which lost 1 minute, I'm really okay with the site.
Nehmt dies.
Unless I implement other tricks, my goal for now is 111.
Bewacht es gut.
Yeah, like this run showed me that it's surely possible.
Aber warum habt ihr so
Especially due to the new ledge storage use, which saves like 30-35 seconds, which is really cool. Shoutouts to Epic Dude Guy and me for finding and developing this trick. It's always the best thing. Shoutouts to myself because I'm so great.
unglaubliche Geschichte erfunden?
But I actually worked on this trick, so
Solch ein Unsinn.
I may allow myself to credit me.
Ihr habt recht. Es war nur ein Märchen.
Alright, that's the run. So thanks all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
Wartet. Ich kenne nicht mal eure Namen.
And yeah, I'll see if I grind for 111 now or if I'll first work more on the segmented run of this category, which is somewhat in the progress, but in a really early stage. So yeah, shoutouts to Jay Mechner. I think that's all I can say to close this run.